Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with a first impressions knife review for you of the Cold Steel AD15. This is brand new from Cold Steel. I just got it from White Mountain Knives. They're out of stock at the moment, but spoiler alert, they're out of stock everywhere. But if you go there to check one out, you can use the code SDWMK at checkout and get 10% off. That's anything on the store, not just one of these, anything you want. They'll have them back in stock as quick as anybody else does. White Mountain Knives does a whole lot of Cold Steel. So go check them out there if you want 10% off. 10% off of only $170. Why is that important? This is a full production version of a semi-custom, because we used to call them mid-techs, made by Andrew Demko. Andrew Demko is a very famous designer who's done a whole lot with Cold Steel. They've been co-collaborating for years and years and years. He invented the triad lock, which is one of the main things that makes Cold Steels. Cold Steel's this very beefy version of the back lock. This is the American Lawman, and it's got that really stiff triad lock on it, super strong lock. But on his custom, he did this one called the AD15 that had this really cool back strap, yokey, they call it a yoke on the back, scorpion lock. He's long since stopped making the customs, but he did a one that was I don't know, mid-techy, I don't know what you want to call it, the MG AD15, which had a machine ground blade, still pretty much a custom in my mind, and $675. This, as I said, $160, way cheaper. And the first impressions that everybody said who had owned the AD15 said this is extremely true to the one that you can get, even the same blade steel as the $675 one. S35 VN. So I'm also intrigued by this lock design. We'll talk about it more in a minute. But I just was like, I gotta get one, and I have become kind of into Cold Steels the last couple of years. I do have. Well, this is my third one right now that I've got, but I've had other ones. And I know you guys clamor for them, and you guys really wanted to see more about it. And I know there's a couple little videos of it out. I know Jimmy Slash did one or two, but there's not many. So breaking my own rules today, doing 2 videos in one day. I put one up this morning because I was feeling under the weather of the Microtech SOCOM Elite, and then this showed up literally 5 minutes after I posted that video. This showed up in the mail. I sat and watched the Daytona 500 and played with this for the whole freaking 4.5 or 5 hours long that freaking race lasted, and fiddled around with it and got to know it a little bit. And I thought, screw it, gonna do a second video in one day, breaking my own rules. I never do that, because if you put a second video up, people stop watching the first one. So if you like this video, please go back and watch my Microtech SOCOM Elite video, to give it some love, because it's getting buried today because I'm putting a second one out. Anywho, let's talk more about this knife. It is a bit of a beast. It's not a huge beast, but it's a bit of a beast. We'll do some specs first of all, do some size comparisons. You have an overall length of 8.5 inches, blade length of just over 3.6 inches, blade thickness not too crazy, 0.15 inches, handle thickness also not too crazy, 0.59 inches, and a weight of, let's say, 6.57 ounces. But I have had a couple Cold Steels that actually wound up being lighter than what they claimed, and 1 or 2 that wound up being heavier. So just let me see. Oh, did they nail it? Do they get the award? No, 6.55. So I always give an award, or just say good job if people get it exactly the same. But it wasn't quite exactly the same, but it's darn close. They claim 6.57 everywhere. Yeah, let's do a few size comparisons. Well, first of all, let's start out with some other Cold Steels. I normally start with some of my standards, but again, this is just first impressions. We're only going to do 3 here, and we'll do both of these at once. So this is the American Lawman. If you don't know why I'd sing that song every time, you can go back and watch the review of that. And the Cold Steel Code 4, one of my absolute favorite EDC knives. You can see overall length of stuff, it's not too much different than these. It really isn't. It's beefier than both of these, but these are both fairly slim for Cold Steels. Unfortunately, I don't have a Recon 1 anymore. I'm an idiot. I thought that I had 2 identical ones, and I didn't. So I sold one and then realized, oh, I don't have another one. And I sold my XHP one, and I just haven't gotten around to buying an S35 Recon one yet. But if I find another XHP one, I will. Anywho, digressing again. So what is the overall design and stuff? I think it looks pretty cool. I will say I'm a bit disappointed that the box lies. The box is built on a house of lies. It shows this really cool black one with the gray. This is aluminum, by the way, like the gray aluminum yoke on here. That doesn't exist. And according to White Mountain Knives and my other distributor I use sometimes, both, the other wholesaler I use, both of them say that it doesn't exist. It's not going to exist. So I'm hoping they're both wrong, and that's gonna come out. The green and the tan is fine. It looks all right, but it's not my favorite color combo. Fits the personality of the knife, I guess, though. You are looking at aluminum. They do, as I said before, they call it a yoke back here. Green G10, very aggressive scales. It is definitely an aggressive looking knife, but it is a pretty aggressive knife. I like the look of the blade and stuff. It looks great. Just have the AD15 on this one side. It's the same printing they have on the custom and MG ones. And then just your usual Cold Steel marking here. Made in Taiwan, S35 VN. But this looks damn near identical to one of the customs or the MG AD15s. It really does. It looks damn near identical to it. The blade, really nice. As usual, from Cold Steel, it comes as sharp as can be. It is fairly thick blade stock, but not crazy. 0.15 isn't insanely thick. I measured it about 28 thousandths behind the edge, which again is a little thick, but not insanely so. And it came razor sharp, which is why I have a Band-Aid on this thumb, because after I fiddled with it for an hour or two, I went, "Oh, is it sharp?" Like an idiot. I did the idiot thing. "Is it?" And yep, it is. I should know better than that on Cold Steel. They're always so super sharp out of the box. I will grab some paper here, and we'll do that. But I've been hacking paper and just cutting through cardboard just to try it out all day, and it's just like butter. They do such good edges out of the box. It's just insane. Every Cold Steel I've had has been almost dangerously sharp. I have gotten bitten by a lot of Cold Steels, not because they're all dangerous, but they just come that freaking sharp. I think it's a really nice blade. Definitely heavy duty use. I mean, look at the tip on that sucker. Yeah, this is definitely a hardcore knife for absolutely sure. Ergonomics, also very, very good. The jimping is pretty aggressive, but again, as I said, this is an aggressive knife, so I don't really have a problem with that. It's not sharp or anything, maybe a little bit on the edges, but it's not bad. The G10 also extremely aggressive. That I don't think is really necessary. I think they could have made this. It doesn't, on the MG AD15, from looking from pictures anyway, it doesn't look like it rises up quite as much as this. Angle that right, and you can see it's pretty bumpy. I don't think it needs to be quite that much, but it is comfortable in the hand for sure. Not getting a hot spot from the clip at all. Does fit the hand very well. There is a choil. It's kind of a 70-30 choil. I know Spyderco calls theirs 50-50 because they call that 70-30. But you can use it. My skinny fingers, it works just fine. If you have fingers any fatter than mine, though, that might be an issue. But you could if you wanted to. But ergonomically, it's pretty darn good. It really is. Quite happy with that. Definitely fills the hand very well. As far as the carry goes, where did I put them? I had Yield Wranglers out. One of the downsides of this very aggressive G10 is it is a bit rough going into the pocket. Is it hard to get in and out? No. But I think it's going to take some fabric with it eventually. Not an uncommon thing. I had the same thing with the Recon 1. I wound up actually removing the clip and sanding down the G10 underneath where it touched so that it didn't do that. This one, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think if I just bent the clip back a little bit, it'd be fine. But we'll see. Absolutely, definitely 100% not deep carry. I know I normally harp about that, but on this knife, I don't care. That's not what this knife's about. I don't care that it's not deep carry. Don't care a bit. I think it's completely fine. Maybe somebody could design a deep carry clip that just used these top two screws and looped over. But it doesn't bother me at all. Now, the deployment in action, that's what this knife's all about, right? Because we have this very unique lock system. Thumb studs work great. Snaps right out. Definitely very smooth there. Obviously, it's on phosphor bronze washers. It's not on bearings. And to close it, it is. A lot of people think the Scorpion lock is 2 hands. It's not. It's definitely 1. As I said, I've been fiddling this for hours, and I've gotten the hang of it pretty good. There's different ways you can open it. I put my thumb here, my index finger here, pull it back, and it just drops. It's almost a Fidget Factory Cold Steel. Not Fidget Factory. You know what I mean. It's almost a Cold Steel with an actual Fidget Factory. There we go. Not that it's made in a Fidget Factory. That'd be a really weird factory. They get nothing done. But it's very smooth. I've done absolutely nothing to this out of the box other than play with it for a few hours. I will say, with this aggressive G10 and just not usually, that's not a place I have much of a callus. Yeah, my fingers are a bit sore. But playing with it for this long. After this video, I may have to just make myself set it aside for a bit so that my fingers don't get more messed up. But I enjoy playing with it. So it's kind of one of those things like, oh, my fingers hurt. Or I have an itchy spot. Your mom says, don't itch it. It's kind of where the point I'm at here with this. It is pretty fun to play with, I have to say. Very cool. That squeak isn't the knife. That's my office chair. I'm going to intentionally pick my elbows up because it sounded like the knife was squeaking there. But yeah, it works great. And I haven't done anything to it yet. I am going to take it apart because I'm just curious also. And I'll lube it up and it'll probably get even better. But it's freaking cool, man. I really like this lock. It's neat. And one of the great things about it, as other people have said, when you're holding on to it, you're just adding pressure to that lock. So the harder you squeeze it, just the more strength you're giving it. But man, it looks pretty. Look at the size of that stop bit. And it's seated here in this aluminum. Yeah. My first impression is sweet as. I mean, it's not normally my wheelhouse kind of knife. I do wish that it wasn't this color. I do wish it was the black that, I saw in the box. I do wish it was that. But that's a total absolute personal taste thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's 100% ambidextrous, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that in the carry. It is right hand, left hand. It uses the same clip. A lot of Cold Steels come with 2 clips. This doesn't. It uses the same clip, and this lock system is completely ambidextrous. Got 2 thumb studs. Don't even have to rotate them side to side or move them side to side like you do in some of the other Cold Steel models. But yeah, I have not experienced the custom AD15 nor the MG AD15, but everybody says this is really, really freaking close. It's the same blade steel. I think that the MG AD15 has a titanium strap back here instead of the aluminum. That doesn't really bother me one way or the other. But yeah, and the weight is, it's not light, but that's not nuts. I mean, it's definitely not, not a PM2. But which we did in size comparison to a PM2. I'll show you here. I think I forgot to pull this one out. Again, this is first impression, so a bit disorganized. But yeah, it's not dramatically larger than a PM2. This is a lot lighter. But yeah, for a big, heavy-duty Cold Steel, I don't know. I guess sometimes you give Cold Steel a pass because you expect it to be crazier than it is. But we'll see how I feel after I have it for longer. This has gone on a long time for a first impressions video. But I know you guys want to know a lot about this, so... All right, we will talk about this more when I do the full video. Yeah, there's no skeletonizing in there, by the way. They could have dropped some weight there. But we'll talk about more when I do the full review. And I would love to tell you it's going to be in a comparison video, but I have nothing to compare this against. So it's probably not going to be. But it is something I'm going to go hold on to for a while. Next time you see it, these scales may be black. I may just dye them. But we'll see. Hope you guys have enjoyed this and find it informative, especially if you guys are patiently waiting for other people to get them in stock. I've been Brian. Have a good one.